Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Topper Jewelers. The team at Topper Jewelers have partnered with Longines to bring you a special box set edition of the Longines Heritage Military Marine. Available only at Topper Jewelers, you can now pick up the Longines Marine with an additional NATO strap at no additional cost. The special box set will include the watch-on strap, the additional NATO, and a spring bar tool, making it the perfect gift for someone who loves to accessorize or for yourself at no additional charge. Visit www.topperjewelers.com to learn more.
Hey everyone, welcome to the 10 and 2 podcast. I'm Kat.
I'm Catlin.
And we're here every week talking watches, photography, adventure, and exploring the world of horology.
It's so bright in here when you turn. We've been sitting in this dark studio and then you turn on the light right before
and they're like
recorded.
Spotlights too.
Oh wait, I need sunglasses.
Do not look up. Oh man.
What's going on?
Oh, I don't know. I feel good.
Yeah.
I think we've been talking. We have our plans for next year together. It's so exciting.
We accidentally have a business and we legit just had to we made a business plan.
We did. Yeah.
I feel so grown up. I know that's ridiculous, but I do. This whole little podcast that we were all, if 5 people listen, that would be super cool.
Yeah.
And now
more than 5 people listen.
We're making business plans.
Yeah, we've been incredibly lucky. And of course, we wouldn't be here without you guys, our listeners, listening in every single week. And we've got some big things and we're very excited about it. And yeah, who would have thought? We've had a crazy year.
Yeah.
And I'm blessed. Completely blessed.
Well, speaking of crazy year, hashtag blessed. Speaking of crazy year, we partnered up with our friend Adrian from Bark and Jack. If you guys don't follow his YouTube, is absolutely amazing. He just we know Adrian on a personal level, but even before that, we were big fans of his content because he just has such a keeping it real kind of attitude about watches. And he asked us and quite a few other people to kind of get together and send in a little video clip about 2020 and what I think it's easy to focus on all the negative of this year, but some positives. And I loved that. And I loved watching the video back. Mm-hmm. I loved that everybody had basically the same theme, and that's, essentially community.
Yeah.
And I love that. That really warmed my heart. So
it did. It was really nice to be a part of that. And Adrian has just been the nicest person to us along, we've worked with him in Scottish Watches since last year. And it's funny how everyone is such a community. Mm-hmm. And we really, I just said we've been blessed, but we have been blessed to meet some of these people. Jenny L, who came into the world this year and just rocked it and killed it. And she's also just the nicest person ever. And
I know.
I mean, goodness, it's been a blast.
I think that's one of the things that I love is how nice people are in real life. Mm-hmm. It's not just a personality on YouTube or through a podcast or something like that. Everybody we talk to is just, they're the nicest people in real life. And I love that because I feel it's one of those things they say you're not supposed to meet your heroes because it's kind of a letdown, and I feel, and that happens. Sometimes you kind of build something up in your head and it's not that when you have it in real life. But just in private conversations and everything else, everybody's just so nice. And I love that.
And we, our listeners are nice and great. And we get just the best DMs. Honestly, when we get people that reach out and send us a message, whether it's personal or on the 10 and 2 account, and they're just we love your podcast. We listen to it every week. And it warms my heart so much. It
makes my day.
Exactly.
I love it. And it will never get old.
No.
If I'm ever to the point of another message, I quit because I don't want to ever be that way. I genuinely just
I don't see how you could be that way. I love hearing feedback, and whether it's good and bad. You saw a message I was getting into this week with a listener of ours, and we had a disagreement, and it was nice we moved it off of the public forum and kind of went into a DM format, but it was nice to talk it out. And I have so much respect for our listeners, and I can see that they had respect for us, and no one wanted to get each other's feelings hurt. And it's like, it's nice to have that in a world that everybody is so in attack mode all the time.
People are angry right now.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just 2020 in general.
It is.
Yeah, there's so much negativity. So it was nice to be a part of such a positive project. And we'll have a link in our show notes to check out that video. And if you don't follow Adrian and his platform, definitely do so. And follow everybody who contributed. There was a ton of people on this video. So it was a lot of fun. So
yeah, for sure. Well, you've had some big news recently because you finally picked up your new watch, which if you follow us on Instagram, you've seen. But so you picked up a Quartz Grand Seiko. I want you to talk about it for a little bit.
Yes. So I have been obsessing, and I've talked about this openly on the podcast several times. I think since probably the first time I started talking about it on the podcast was when we spoke with Mr. Grand Seiko, who's Daniel. And we had that whole chat about Grand Seiko. And I mentioned that I have been kind of obsessing over an SBGV 245 since somebody I follow on Instagram, collector.101, he got one recently a few months ago, and I've been obsessing ever since. And I thought, I'm not going to, I don't want to spend a bunch of money on watches right now. That's just not my priority. So I never, I hadn't really considered getting it. And you and I I've had them openly on the podcast, all these conversations about me and I need to get rid of watches. There's so much that's sitting around not doing anything. And I had this idea, well, if I were to get rid of watches, then I could buy a new watch. And it's like an exchange. As long as I'm spending $0 extra, I can justify that in my head.
Yeah.
And that's what I decided to do. So I sold some watches off. I've been eyeballing, this watch on Watch Recon and
everything.
Chrono 24. Kat was ready. She was like, just tell me when you want me to start looking. Because Kat's the forum girl. I'm not in the forums. I never have been a big fan of them. I know a lot of people get a lot out of them, but I feel like it's just so time consuming.
It can be.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Not anymore.
Not me, that's for sure. So and you were ready for it. And I was just like, okay, I sold watches off. I
wanted to be your dealer. I wanted to find one for you.
Well, this watch, and that was my plan because this watch has been discontinued, which was a huge disappointment to find out. And so that was my plan was I was going to, Kat, I'm going to let Kat find this for me because I don't know where to look. I've never bought anything that wasn't from a website or from a store or something like that. Other than I've bought smaller watches on Instagram.
Yeah.
So my plan was I'm going to sell these watches. And then I was going to do the smart thing, and wait and make sure everybody's happy with their watches, blah, 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 before I spend the money.
Yeah.
Well, on Wednesday before Thanksgiving, I sold all my watches just in the same day. I sold 5 watches, and it was kind of nice to just not have them. I don't miss any of them, which was not a feeling I expected. And all my transactions were amazing. And it was so easy for me because I was just, I was kind of realistic in the way that I sold them. I didn't sell anything for a profit. I sold a little bit below kind of average price because I just
wanted to sell them.
I just wanted them gone. Yeah. I didn't want to have to, I hate haggling. I hate it so much. So I'm like, here's the price. This is it. So, and I remember Wednesday night going to bed and checking Chrono 24 before I went to bed because that's what we do. We're crazy people, y'all. Some people check important things like the news. I'm checking watch sites.
Yeah.
And then I woke up Thanksgiving morning and there was this magical new listing for this watch that still had stickers on it. The guy had worn it one time and didn't like the way it fit on his wrist. And I texted you. It was probably 8 a.m. Thanksgiving morning. I'm sure you were hating me.
No.
I was like, hey, is this too good to be true?
Yeah.
Because it was priced really well, still had stickers on it. I'm like, I just need a second opinion. I need to know that I'm not crazy and this actually looks good. And you said, yeah. And I was like, okie dokie. So I So in my offer, I've never used Chrono 24 before. And I will say, if you're, and this is not sponsored, and Chrono 24 doesn't know we exist.
Yeah.
I've never used them. And if you are considering purchasing a watch, I do highly recommend that as a platform. I felt really great about their escrow service, which is a standard service that they have. I reached out to the guy. He's on the West Coast, so it took him a couple more hours to get back to me. And I'm like, I'm trying to cook a huge Thanksgiving dinner, checking my phone every 2 seconds. But turns out it was all meant to be. Yeah. So I just got it last week.
Last Friday, I think. Yeah. That's the last time we met.
And I'm in love.
I know.
I'm so in love.
The text this week between us, so you're just like at work, can't wait to get home and put it on.
Yes. I can't wear it to work, but like I remember going to work on Saturday and I missed it. Like I legitimately missed.
Well, it's a brand new watch, and like all you want to do when you, especially like the first week you get the watch in, is wear the heck out of it. So I don't blame you at all.
I've brought it to work with me several times. Like some people bring their children to work. I bring my watch to work.
Yeah, put it in your pocket, stare at it.
So I'm excited. So today and yesterday are my 2 days off this week. And I've gotten to actually like wear it and spend time with it. Yeah. And so I'm very excited.
Yeah, and you're clocking in your wristwatch check with it today. It looks so good.
I'm smitten.
Looks great on the strap.
Yeah.
I love it. It changes colors. Sometimes it almost looks like a little green. Sometimes it looks gray, silver, a little cream color depending on the light. It's so dynamic. And yeah, I'm jealous because I've been wanting a 9F too. And I don't know if the right one's out there for me. I'm sure it will be at some point because Grand Seiko has no problem with putting out lots and lots of models, which is fine because I know that the perfect one will be out there at some point in time. But, I used to have, I think I had the 247, and that was a limited edition. And that heftiness of that quartz is so good.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something I didn't really expect. And people, are going to crap on quartz watches, whatever. It is what it is. I'm happy and that's all I care about. But yeah, it has such great weight to it. And I'm sorry, this is a quartz watch, and really the entry level watch for a Grand Seiko. And I would put it up against the finishing. I'd put it up against most Swiss brands that are 3 times.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, it's Grand Seiko. At the end of the day, they're not going to cut corners just because it's quartz.
Yeah, just because it's their least expensive type of model.
It's so good,
and I think that there's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah,
and
now if you don't like quartz, then you just don't go for it. You go for one of their, maybe one of their automatic, maybe not the spring drive because that's a little more higher end. But there's still some entry level pieces for Grand Seiko. If quartz is not your thing, but that one is really, really cool. Yeah.
I'm smitten.
Like if you're gonna have a quartz, like Grand Seiko's the way to go.
I agree. I'm
awesome.
Just obsessed.
It looks great on your wrist.
I can't wait to order all the straps. I love everybody who's like, "What straps are you getting for it?" Like I'm just trying to. First of all, I'm trying to wear in this strap.
The current one.
The strap is a beast to wear in and really break in. But then after that, it's gonna be it's on like Donkey Kong. Like I can't.
Well, you've talked to me about some of the ideas you have, and I'm excited to see.
Yes. I need to reach out to some people.
Yeah.
And get some custom stuff done.
It's exciting. I'm so happy for you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So what are you wrist checking with today?
I guess I'm going to wrist check with what I have on the wrist.
Yeah.
I was looking around the room because we have a lot of watches.
I think that's how it goes.
But no, I've worn this one all day. So this is the Monta Atlas, which is sent into me just to try out. I haven't bought it. I know a lot of people were asking me that. This is the opaline silver, which I've not really had a lot of hands-on with. Monta was here last year, and I got to see it, but we were so busy, and we were at a watch club meetup. I just really didn't get to focus on a lot of the models, and my eyes were also smitten with the model that I ended up buying.
You were very distracted.
Yes, but the opaline, I want to add another GMT. I got rid of my Explorer 2 because I bought the Seamaster and couldn't be more happy with that decision. But I'm still itching for a GMT. And, I don't know. This is so nice. The silver on this, it's white in some light. It's silver in others, kind of gray. I will say the only negative is the rehot, which shows the 24-hour scale, is pretty hard to read. And I think that has been a negative with a lot of customers on this specific one. Yeah, maybe they could do it with silver, silver writing, I think it'd be a little bit more readable. But that being said, I can still read it in certain lights, and I'm not constantly looking at the GMT hand a lot of times anyway. It wouldn't keep me from buying the watch is what I'm trying to get at.
So what is keeping you from buying this?
I don't know. My husband is what's keeping me from buying this watch. No, this is a very much a top contender for GMT. I'm looking at Grand Seiko 9F GMT2, but gosh, this is just, it's so elegant. It's like, it's a perfect watch to take with you traveling because I think it goes with so much.
Oh yeah.
And like, you can take it and you can wear multiple outfits. And I want a watch that I can take on trips because I do plan to travel next year. Like I'm going places. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know if I can go anywhere, but I am going places next year.
We're just going down the road, dang it.
Yes. Well, I've told my husband, like, okay, if COVID's bad going into next year, like, let's take road trips. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
We really stayed home this year. We didn't go a lot of places, and I want to take more advantage of it next year. And there's plenty of things you can do even with COVID going on. So yeah, we're going places. With that being said, that's my wristwatch check.
No, I love it. I think that, I had the blue dial.
You did, yeah.
The Atlas is, we've fangirled over Monta 1,000 times on this podcast.
Yeah.
But the Atlas is just such a great watch. It has that perfect balance of hefty, but still practical. It would be a great everyday watch. And I love that silver dial. I think
it's so good.
If I had seen that like kind of in person, I think that would have been a better contender for me than the blue.
Yeah.
I'm so picky about blue dials. But yeah, no, that looks phenomenal.
Well, and then now, the Atlas comes with the quick adjust or quick adjust clasp, which previously only came on the Ocean Kings.
Yeah.
So,
did you see their story that they did the other day? That they are officially as far as I know, the only Swiss watch brand that does quick release clasp or quick adjust clasp on every single model they offer.
Oh, that's cool.
And I think
How cool is that? And it's a great quick adjust, like the upgrade, because I have the old clasp on my Ocean King, and I can tell you that this new upgrade, it's so much better.
But why don't more brands do this? I just don't.
Well, I think we're starting to see it. We're
Yeah.
starting to see it, but
even on dressier watches. So we had the Noble in for review, which is a dressy watch.
Yeah.
It had a quick adjust clasp.
well, they're kind of like the OPs and the Datejust, where they're kind of sporty, dressy, and I think you can get away with those. The micro adjust on those too. I said micro adjust. I said it with
Did you? That's amazing.
Yeah, so I think it works with those that are on bracelet, but yeah, maybe we'll see more of it. Well, we have some to talk about today too.
Y'all, literally hashtag all the watches. Like it's been busy.
It has been busy.
We have had so much in right now.
We got a lot of reviews coming, but we wanted to take time today to talk about some of the ones we're not doing a review on, but that we got in to get hands-on with and just kind of talk about our experience wearing them and playing with them and taking pictures of them and all the fun stuff. So
I love that this is like our life, by the way. That like
we cannot complain.
We get to like hang out with all these super cool watches.
Yeah.
I don't always love sending them back, but
yeah, that's the tough part about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've been really blessed, and it just kind of, I don't think we planned it. It just kind of worked out this way that we got a lot in at one time, which is always fun.
So we figured we'd just talk about it a little bit and kind of go.
And as we talk about these watches, if you have any questions specifically, reach out to us and we'll do our best to answer the DM and do the best we can.
Yeah, for sure.
Since we're not doing a formal review on some of them. But all right, so the first one we're going to talk about is
what you got?
The Worn Wound collab, which is so freaking cool. And this is with Christopher Ward. It's the first collaboration between Worn Wound and Christopher Ward.
Which is weird because I feel like they've been so close
They have.
for so long. Like I was really surprised. And I guess I just kind of assumed. So they do so. First of all, Worn Wound does some amazingly cool collaborations. And I guess I had assumed that they had already done one by now. But no, this is the first one with Christopher Ward. So.
Yeah. So this watch it's got a really cool complication. It's got what would you call it? A date.
It's a relief. It's got like the relief date.
Mm-hmm.
But then instead of having a hand to correspond to the date, there's just like a little red disc inside the actual cutout for the relief. Downside, can be a little difficult to read, guys. So,
and this is the Sandstorm that we're talking about. I don't think I mentioned the name. My bad.
Sorry. We're just going to make you guess. That's what we should do. We should do a whole, we should do a podcast review and just never even say what the watch is.
You just have to guess what it is. That's hilarious.
But yeah, so it has the date relief, which is really nice. It's this really cool kind of, it's a field watch. It kind of does that really well. And this is actually only the second Christopher Ward, I think, that you and I have ever handled.
That's true. We had
a bronze trident.
That's right.
That a friend of yours had sent in for us to kind of hang out with. And then this one. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely interesting and that's the thing that I really enjoy is I enjoy getting hands-on with watches that, they don't have stores here, and it's not something that you would see typically or like be able to try on typically. So we can kind of get some experience with brands that we weren't expecting. And I will say the surprise to me on this is the weight of the watch. Like it has a really great heft to it. And I don't think that I really expected that out of a Christopher Ward.
Yeah, I like there's a thicker bezel on it, and it's a 38 millimeter, but I think on the wrist it wears a little smaller, which I actually like. You're right. The thickness is really great. There's a great engraving on the back of it. And then it has a quick adjust clasp, which again, we were just talking about having that on a non-diver is always a benefit. The colors are just great. I love this turquoise that they use for the indices. And I think that along with the red, it matches perfectly. It's very fun. It's very casual. And honestly, there's nothing else that looks like this right now that I can think of. Like this is very, very original. I don't look at this and think of any other watch brand. It almost doesn't even look like a Christopher Ward. Like I can see the Worn and Wound influence on here because I know that they love these colors. And that's something that I really respect from Worn and Wound and the team is they do these great colored straps and NATO straps and things like that and watch pouches. And they've got good taste is what I mean. And they really pick some great colors here. But this is a great collaboration. Love the date complication. The only negative, and I was telling you this, is that the date wheel is it's very hard to see. Yeah. So if you have bad eyesight, I think maybe this is not, and you really care about looking at the date constantly, this is probably not the watch for you. Other than that, it's a solid watch, and the lume is great too on it.
Yeah. No, it is. It's such a great, you were saying it's totally different from anything out there. And I respect that, and I really appreciate that. And I love how muted it is. Like, yes, like it's
very subtle.
Yeah, you have the turquoise, but you don't see it. Like, on the wrist from a distance, you have no idea what this watch is. And to me, that's the purpose of a field watch. You shouldn't have a field watch that's really loud and kind of in your face. That defeats the whole origin to it.
Yeah, I would say it's a field watch, but I also just say it's like a great everyday piece.
Oh, for sure.
It's just like
I think
the bracelet's
all field
fantastic.
Watches make great everyday
I think
watches,
so too.
For sure.
Some I think they lend themselves more to that military style, and this is kind of getting away from that. This is really modern and new, and the design is just fantastic on it.
No, the bracelet's comfortable. Everything is really comfortable on it. And I think, like you said, they nailed it. You can see the Worn and Wound influence in this 100%. These are limited edition. I know this one here is limited to 200 pieces. There was also a blackout version. The Sandstorm blackout is limited to 100 pieces. So, they're really great. You guys can check out more information on either the Worn and Wound website or the Wind Up Watch Shop website. Also, I feel like this would be a strap monster.
I think so too.
Yeah. And I love that.
Like on a NATO. Definitely.
NATO, different
It's got
leathers.
a really short lug to lug too.
Yeah. Well, and I think that really factors into the way that it wears. It wears so incredibly well. Like you said, and it wears a little bit smaller. It wears smaller, but it doesn't wear like awkwardly small.
No, not at all. So this watch also has like really cool quick adjust technology on the lugs.
Like to be able to just take the bracelet right off. Yeah. Like it's a push button, right? On the back.
Yes. Sorry. I'm messing with it as we're recording, which is not a good idea.
This is why we have a carpeted table so that we can mess with all the watches and it doesn't scratch them. But I love that, like, we're seeing more and more brands do this. And I think that it makes sense because, all of us, we change spring bars. A lot of us do because we're used to it. But there's a whole new subset of people getting into this hobby who don't do this on a regular basis.
And very intimidated by the process too.
Because you don't want to scratch up your watch. You don't want to ruin it or anything else. So I think this is a really great release.
And now a word from our sponsor and friends over at Topper Jewelers. With the holidays right around the corner, the team at Topper Jewelers are here to make your last-minute watch shopping easier than ever. As a retailer of almost 20 different watch brands, Topper Jewelers has an amazing selection of new timepieces to choose from, as well as an extensive pre-owned collection available online and updated weekly. Whether you're looking for brands like G-Shock and Seiko, Breitling and Omega, and more independent brands like H. Mosier and everything in between, Topper Jewelers is your one-stop shop for all things watches. And with international shipping available on most timepiece purchases, the team has made it easy to shop from any location. Head over to www.topperjewelers.com to check out their extensive timepiece selection, including the Topper Box Edition Longines Heritage Military Marine that you heard about earlier. That's TOPPER jewelers.com. All right, so the next brand we'll get into is Hamilton, which sent us just so many watches.
All the watches.
And nothing really that's like brand new. However, watches that we haven't got our hands on and we've always wanted to.
Yeah.
So when we were talking with some of the reps from Hamilton, we're like, we'd love to check out the Venturas because I know they're not brand new, but we've never been hands on with them.
No.
And they're part of the reason I even got into this hobby because as a kid, like, Men in Black, and I know Elvis wore this watch, y'all. Like, don't come at me.
We know Elvis wore this. Like, we posted a picture of this watch in a Men in Black reference, and everybody was in the comments.
But I wasn't
Elvis.
A kid when Elvis was around, right? Like, okay, so Men in Black is the whole reason I love this watch. And I don't get me wrong, like I'm in love with the Elvis aspect too, because I'm from Tennessee, and like you just have to be.
Right.
But yeah, Men in Black, it's just so cool. They are I wonder if I could wear this every day. Like, I don't know.
No.
I don't think I could.
There's no way.
But I still love it. I kind of want one. Like, it's just so different. It's so out there. It's that watch you wear when you just want to be badass and like you own it, right? It's one of those pieces and it's just incredibly cool. And I'm so glad that we got to go hands on with it. What did you think of them?
No, I agree.
We got the chrono and then we got the three-hander.
And the three-hand. I like the three-hand better than the chrono. That's just a personal thing. And same reason. Like, we're the same age. Yeah. So, it was like, I loved Men in Black as a kid. Like, it's still one of my favorite movies. I love when it comes on. When it comes on, I watch it every time. The new one, I enjoyed as well.
I feel like an agent when I wear it.
Cat's over here trying to like make people forget things.
Okay, so just a quick backstory. I was obviously obsessed with this movie as a kid, and Burger King used to do really cool toys and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, they would have toys for the movie.
Do they have a neuralizer?
I bought the neuralizer, and I for real thought it was gonna work, and I was so disappointed when it didn't. Yeah, and like I would go to people. I'd bleep them with it and it didn't work. I was very disappointed. But again, I was so obsessed with this movie and I definitely wanted the watch as a kid.
I feel like the watch lived up to the hype because this was something, I mean, you see them all the time, but you think, no, like it's kind of silly for, because it's not a watch you're going to wear often, and it costs several $100s. So you're like, no, like I'm not going to bother
because
with that.
It doesn't look like any other watch on the market.
But it's so freaking cool.
Yeah.
And it is. It kind of, like for me, it is that nostalgia of watching Men in Black when I was a kid. And I mean, aside from that, it just really is a cool looking watch. It's a statement piece for sure.
It's art. It's artwork.
Yeah. It has, I mean, if you don't know any sort of reference, if you don't know anything in watches, like it has just a super modern art feel to it.
Yeah.
And I think that you can respect it. Yeah. I think that you can respect it and appreciate it for that. But then, I mean, you can also respect it and appreciate it because it was the Men in Black watch. So.
Or Elvis watch, whatever floats your boat.
We know, guys. We know. It's just like this is our age. So,
well, speaking of vintage watches, so they also sent us the PSR digital watch, which is so another just like I love these like retro comeback watches. I think they're fantastic. Yeah. There's no other functionality other than telling the time, which is crazy.
That's almost a surprising feature. We talked about this. Like, it seems like it should tell you so much more because it's kind of big and chunky. It's not
one button on it.
Yeah.
That's to change the time, literally, and to turn the light on.
Yeah.
And it's really bright. I wish my only My only complaint is like I wish it would stay lit more. I've had too much coffee, y'all. Yeah, because I wanted to see it lit up a lot longer. I think it's like 4 seconds. I think we may have timed it at some point.
Yeah, and that's not very long.
Yeah,
either.
So maybe like 10 seconds would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, it was really awesome. It was hefty, very well made. I talked about a little bit about like the bracelet, and I think in another episode. But yeah, the bracelet is like, again, I've not been super impressed by Hamilton bracelets, and this one really impressed me. Just the whole quality of the overall package was really great.
I feel like it wasn't as heavy as what I expected the bracelet to be, which is nice because it has
the watch
those, like,
is heavy though.
Yeah, the case is heavy.
It's so thick.
Yeah, it's not like a fit under a shirt kind of watch at all.
No.
But that's what you love about it. Like it just has it's a conversation piece, and I think that we get stuck in this idea that to have a conversation watch, you have to spend tens of thousands of dollars and have, a Moser or an MB&F or like any of the indie brands that just do like these crazy out there watches. But no, for less than $1,000, you could have something that's just crazy different and that nobody else has anything like it.
Well, there's so much history with the movies and Bond and, Hamilton, and that's why I love this brand so much is that they've done so much with Hollywood and they have all these great connections and pieces and they're standalone, watches that, again, kind of stand out in your collection because they're so different than everything else. Yeah. And they're just fun and great, and I really like them.
Now, we did get a traditional watch from Hamilton.
That was also vintage inspired.
It was vintage inspired, but it not quite as funky or anything like that. We got a regular watch too to check out, guys. And we got their new Intramatic, the one that they had partnered with Hodinkee in designing. And I know it was launched originally on Hodinkee, and I believe that now it's available through Hamilton as well. And this watch is gorgeous.
It's gorgeous, yeah.
I'm not even a dress watch person. This watch makes me want to dress up. It's absolutely stunning. So it has a beautiful champagne dial. And you can just see all of the vintage kind of aesthetics and aspects of this watch. It has so much character. And it has, it definitely has much more dimension than I think that you would expect from pictures online.
Yeah, I used to own the silver Intramatic back in the day, and they were much thicker, much heftier. And for a dress watch, you didn't really want that. And they've done really well because they brought down the thinness, or they brought down the thickness of the watch. And it wears like a dream on the wrist. The size is pretty perfect. And that sunburst dial with so that, good. It is kind of a salmon, champagne. It's a kind of a mixture between the two.
What is salmon at the end of the day? Because I feel like a lot of dials are salmon.
Well, and that's what I thought. I think when I think salmon, I think pink. But someone commented on a picture of the Fears that we posted, and they said that the Fears watch was an actual salmon dial because a salmon dial is meant to be more copper in color, which I didn't know.
I had no idea.
Exactly.
So also, clearly, I don't read the comments on the Instagram that often.
Well, it may have been on my page or
yours,
I can't remember now, but I didn't know that, and something I want to look into because I've always considered those kind of light pink dials to be more salmon, but that could be true. So I think when I look at this watch, I see the champagne in certain light, and then sometimes I see more of that salmony pink color. It's just great. It's so warm, and I think it is like a perfect dress watch. I think this would look amazing on a woman. I think this will look amazing on a man. It's just one of those great watches. I think it's fantastic.
No, I agree. And I mean, Hamilton is a brand that we've both been super familiar with for a very long time. We've both owned Hamiltons. So it was nice to see something, but we owned like pretty traditional Hamiltons. You've had I think most collectors have had a khaki field at some point in your collecting experience. Like you're supposed to buy an SKX and a khaki field. Those are just two watches that you have to have at some point.
Which are not bad watches to
no,
have.
They're not terrible watches. And if you don't, I'm not, I feel like sometimes people take me way too literally. But so and then I have Tyler has, he has the Day-Date Pilot from the Interstellar movie.
Interstellar.
So we definitely
need to check out the Murph watch.
I think we had talked about it and then we forgot to tell. Dang it.
Next time.
If you're listening, Hamilton. Send that our way. But no, it is. Hamilton's just a great brand with so much history. So it's super cool to get hands on with some of these.
Can you imagine if
ones.
I'm such a fan of Hamilton. They used to be American made. Same with Timex. I would love it for these brands to come back to America. How awesome. That's probably not going to happen.
I don't feel like they're leaving Swatch Group anytime soon.
No. And to be honest, they're the only reason they get to do this is because they are Swiss made now. Yeah. So I can't complain. But maybe a limited edition like Timex did with the American.
Cool.
What was it called?
Oh, I forget. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then they could do a watch that is made in America. I think that would be kind of cool. Bring back some of that history, but. Yeah, super fans of that. And then I think we got a Jazzmaster. We haven't really checked that one out too much in the last few weeks, so we'll play around with that a little bit too. But thank you, Hamilton, for sending this to us, and we were super excited to check them out. We had a good time.
Very much so.
Are you looking something up?
No?
Okay.
No. All right, other watches we have in. We finally got in the Astor+Banks Fortitude, and I'm pretty sure it lives up to the expectations that I thought. So we are just now getting hands-on with them. We have all of the dial colors except for the teal one.
The teal.
Which is the one that he said he's sending it.
I want it so bad.
He said he's sending it. So it's fine. I guess somebody else had it, but it's fine. We'll wait our turn. But that was the one that I really wanted to see. I think we were both
like a little bit disappointed. Not
disappointed.
Not disappointed, but like a little sad that like
it's fine. It's fine. We're gonna get it and we're gonna see it too. But no, so this is the first time either of us, as far as I know, you haven't before, have had experience with Astor+Banks in general. And, we've talked about micro brands at least a dozen times on the podcast. And the things that these brands are doing and the quality of craftsmanship that they're putting out at the price points they do is just absolutely phenomenal. And I think micro brands have really kind of changed the watch world. And I think people are more critical of brands like Seiko now because there are micro brands out there doing it better for cheaper. And I think that really says something too for the quality. So definitely enjoying the Fortitude. We're going to do an in-depth review.
Yes. So we won't we just got these in and I don't want to give too much of my opinion because I don't feel like it's fair. I haven't worn it a ton because we have all these other watches.
We've been double wristing for a week.
It's fine. But no, I do love these. And someone said the other day we posted the blue one. They said it reminded them almost of the Zenith Defy. And I could see that with like those sharp lines on it. And just obviously a more affordable alternative to that because the bracelet, while it's not integrated, it almost looks integrated and it's very kind of squared off. And I like that a lot. But yeah, it's a chunky little case and just a great size. And the dial, I've got the mother of pearl, which I haven't really, I have to size it because I want to wear that one. They're just fantastic. I kind of discovered this brand this year. I won't lie. Like I didn't really know a whole lot about them. This release of the Fortitude is what really put them on the map for me. And I think for a lot of people, and I'm happy to see them succeed. I'm very nervous about getting that turquoise dial in because I feel like it's going to be very dangerous for me. Yeah.
Halvesies.
Oh, maybe that's our Halvesies watch.
Maybe that's our.
Ooh.
I like how 2 months ago when we talked to Daniel, Kat was very anti, no, I will never split a watch. And now she's like, oh, yeah, I could justify that to my husband.
Maybe. I don't know. Oh,
so funny. But no, yeah, I agree. Astor+Banks, I've followed them on Instagram for a long time and just kind of, you see stuff. And then when they announced this lady's watch, I DM'd them immediately. I was like, dude, like you're a micro brand. You're actually marketing a watch for females, which is something we've talked about on the podcast
just don't see
several times. So it's very exciting.
To me, there's something to be said when a brand, just posting pictures alone, Fears does really well with it. They did it on their last release is show us the watches on female wrists as well, because you have there's more and more women coming into this hobby. And it's kind of sucks when you look at these brands and you look at their pages and there's no pictures of the watches on a female's wrist. Yeah. And there should be.
I
mean, I would love to see more brands just market a little bit more to women.
Yeah, you don't have to label anything as a women's watch or a men's watch for that matter. Just show me pictures every now. We get it. We get that.
It's hard
too. Your primary primary consumer is men. We understand that. But like once in a blue moon, post a wrist shot of one of, of somebody one of your female clients who posts a picture of it, or, or just use a female model. And it is just nice to see. It's nice to see in the sense that like it seems like there's more inclusion. And that's what we really, really want.
Yeah.
It's just a more inclusive atmosphere.
Yeah.
So
I agree. Totally agree.
Speaking of fears and watches we're not going to get too in-depth in, we finally also got the Brunswick salmon. Yeah.
I know.
I feel like we can't say anything because we're going to say like all of it.
I want to keep all my good thoughts for the review because this is a review that's actually coming out next week. Or following this episode, actually. It'll be the next episode.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I'm impressed. I'm very impressed is all I will say.
Tune in Friday
to
hear our in-depth review. So,
but yeah, like we were talking about, the dial is just stunning. If it, it's this true salmon color, copper color, that's just great. Yeah, that's all I want to say.
Tune in Friday. That's all we got. Okay. That's all we got. All right, and another. I feel like this is the hashtag all the watches / DJ Khalid episode, and another one. Like every time we were picking up boxes from the UPS store, it was like, man. So another brand that like I've not really I followed for a while, but not really kind of engaged with, is Dryden, another micro brand. And so they sent us their Pathfinder, which is a really interesting release. It's something that.
Well, it's a really cool watch because, so this one's like 41 millimeters.
Yeah.
But it has a really short lug to lug. I think it's only like 47. It's 11.8 millimeters thick. So the sizing is what works on this watch. It also has a 12-hour bezel, which we don't see a whole lot of these. I call them simple GMTs. I don't know what it's a 12-hour GMT. I mean, that's all it is. Something that actually I wish we saw more of because I like that simple. I don't always want to do like the whole configuration of the 24 hours because, numbers and I'm not.
Because math.
Yeah. I just suck at it.
I love the realness. It's fun.
Be honest with you. I hate numbers. But I do like these simple GMTs because in my case, it's about all I really truly need. Yeah. But yeah, it's an awesome watch. I haven't actually had a chance to play with mine. You have the blue. I have the silver, white.
Yeah. It does. It has quick release end links,
which
is another like big point to point out. I think you're seeing so many micro brands lately, and even some major brands do quick release end links, which.
Definitely.
It's a game changer.
I know you said when we got this watch in, you were super impressed with the case that it came in and the travel pouch.
Yeah, the travel case. Like, I feel like the case costs what the watch would. Like, it's insane. The packaging that comes with this watch. Yeah. I'm assuming it comes with every single watch they sell, or at least it comes with this one. It's listed on their website. So I assume that includes the travel case. If not, my bad, y'all. If not, you should definitely consider picking one up because it's a really phenomenal leather travel case. It's big. It's really great. And I think, especially in the micro brand scene, there's very little that separates some brands sometimes.
That's true.
At the end of the day, you can only recreate a wheel so many times. That's what kind of irks me when people knock on other things looking like something else. You can only do so much. So I think that you can redesign something and make it uniquely yours, but then your experience opening it. Like we talked about this when we both received our Fears watches. It was an experience opening our Fears watches. And that is what separates some brands from others. And so same with this, like having that really nice travel case was something that was a really nice experience and something that really stands out for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. All right, so the next one we got on our list is...
I think this is the last one, right?
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
We may have forgotten something.
Probably.
There's been a lot of watches.
And that is the Fair Bradfield, which we both really fell in love with when we had this one in. So the dial is 37 millimeters. The whole case in itself is 39. And
it wears so much bigger.
Yeah, but I think it's that pilot watch though. Yeah. It's a white dial too, which also doesn't help sometimes.
I guess it doesn't wear bigger, it just looks bigger.
It does.
It wears
the illusion
comfortably.
Is,
yeah, for sure. But
I freaking love this watch, first of all. And I'm going to say it. I'm going to be honest. We've had lots of fairs in the past. To me, this is the best quality fair that we've had.
I fully agree with
feel
that.
like they have increased their quality. I don't know if they have a different manufacturer or what, but I was so impressed by this one. Hands down, my favorite that we've had. I would easily go buy this watch today. I loved it that much. The colors are just phenomenal. They're fun. I don't like Pilot watches because I feel like they're always boring. This is not boring. This is something I would wear daily. They have that anti-magnetic case in that Faraday cage, and it's thicker, it's heavier, it's hefty on the wrist, and I love that. Like for a watch that's not on a bracelet, that's what I look for. Kind of like with your Grand Seiko, like I like that heftiness.
Yeah.
And you had that, and again, just completely impressed by this watch. I got some like super close macro shots of it, and I could not see any faults. Like the paint was on point, and I was, like I said, I was just impressed by it.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of their new anti-magnetic Pilot watches. So I think that they released 3, if I remember correctly, different colorways. The Bradfield is the fun, colorful one.
Yeah.
It's the white dial.
It
really is the best, y'all. For real, just take our word on it. It's got like this. Like a pale turquoise to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the hands are kind of like a pale yellow.
God,
and it sounds ugly when I say pale, like whatever, but really it's super cool. The numerals are so big and bold, and y'all, the loom
is amazing.
It's stupid. It's so good.
It is like, it's the most loomed watch that I've ever dealt with hands on.
Agreed.
Because there's so much of it. Like I walked in from outside and was like, whoa. Mm-hmm. Like if you love loom, this is the watch for you, because it's almost the whole dial. Like it's amazing because that whole ring is loom too, and it's stunning.
And I love like the little touch of the loom around the numerals, the way it's done. It
makes the numerals almost look 3D when you're in the dark too.
Yes, an amazing release.
Yeah.
And so we've talked about this on the podcast before, that Farrah names all of their watches after like some sort of military inspiration. And I just kind of love that this one is named after Frances Beatrice Bradfield, who was one of the first women recruited to the Royal Aircraft Establishment. And I just kind of love that. I love that every watch tells its own story without telling its own story, but they actually, I hate to say they tell the story because I literally will have said that phrase 3 times. But they talk about it on the website. So for each watch, like the story is told there. And I just think that that's one of the things, again, it's little things like this that micro brands can do to separate themselves from others.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm big into the story. Like I'm a sucker for a story. Like if I'm buying anything, just tell me a story behind it and I'll buy it.
Yeah.
And I really have a lot of respect for that.
Well, that wraps it up for the watches that we've had in. I actually wanted to bring up a couple with you that we haven't had in, but they kind of have come out in the last few weeks, and I don't think we've talked about them on the show.
What you got?
So Fratello had the Oris limited edition.
Yes.
So many limited editions. But what did you think of it? It was the bronze case, red dial.
I liked it. I'm still very undecided on bronze watches. Like we've talked about this till we're blue in the face. Like bronze, I don't like the way it looks brand new because it's too shiny for me. And I like the patina, but I only like a certain level of patina, and then like it gets too patinaed.
Yeah.
But I feel like the color combo of they call it an oxblood dial. That against the bronze is sexy. Like it looks so good.
Yeah. The Pointer Date series is my favorite of that Oris does. And I'm glad that Fratello went with that one for them. I think it makes sense for them as a brand. Like I don't see Fratello doing a dive watch, I guess.
No.
Just because I feel like it doesn't really match with their style.
Their personality.
Not that they couldn't, but the Pointer Date was a great choice. I think the combo of the bronze and that together, it just really works. It really works. And again, I'm not so much negative on the bronze as I am on the red, the oxblood, because I don't feel like red's my color.
Okay.
But that being said, I think it's a killer combo. Another watch that came out this week that caused quite a stir was the G-Shock Hodinkee John Mayer limited edition, which we were both ready to buy, let me tell you.
I have never been more happy to not have seen a square G-Shock because Y'all,
we were
all
about
the
to buy
watches
it.
is a problem. We're John Mayer fans. We're fans of Hodinkee, obviously. And they, again, like they do some really cool collaborations. And so we were texting for days before. We were on the phone together that morning. And then I think it was Worn Wound had posted it like half an hour before. And I was like, oh, phew, thank God it wasn't a 5600 series. Because this is my problem with G-Shock is I can't, like they all just feel so weird on the wrist. And I was so hesitant for a G-Shock for the longest time until I discovered
the square.
Yeah. And then that to me, it was more feminine, and not more feminine, but it was more universal.
It's less bulky too. The squares are just thin. They wear really light. They're not in your way. You're not banging them up against something. Now, that being said, like a lot of people thought, I feel like they kind of copped out and they didn't really design it very well, or I guess they didn't put a lot of thought into it. And if you watch the John Mayer video with the Casio piano or keyboard that he had, like there's a whole story there. And not that he doesn't really have a connection with G-Shock itself. He has a connection with that Casio keyboard, and it totally made sense. And the colors lined up. They're not my favorite. And the watch, just those G-Shocks are just not, honestly, like, I don't think they're ugly. I'll just be honest. They're just not my favorite. No, I'm not saying the watch is ugly. No, but don't come at me.
But that shape of G-Shock, it's not our thing.
Don't like it.
We do not like that.
At all.
Yeah.
Again, if this would have been in a square, I would have bought 2 of them probably. But maybe next time, John Mayer, if you hear us, please do a square.
Do a square. Also, please don't do a square because all the watches is starting to add up.
I think they sold out in 7 minutes or something. Which, I mean, people that don't even like watches are going to buy it just because it's John Mayer. But that was cool. I mean, it's a G-Shock. Like, I'm just happy that he did something he could have done a Patek and and no one could have bought it.
When you think about John Mayer watch collaboration, I feel like that's what you expected. And then when they posted it and it said G-Shock, I was like, oh, okay. And then I was like, man, it's going to be like a full metal G-Shock. It's going to be like $1,200 or titanium. It's going to be like $1,800, something like that. And it was just a regular $180 or $160, whatever, less than $200.
It was less than $200. I think it was like $180 or something.
Something like that.
Definitely not the kind of money I'd spend for that kind of G-Shock. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool. It was fun. Yeah. It was exciting for 2 seconds.
Exactly. It just got the internet excited for a few minutes.
For a hot minute.
So, that and literally the week before we had just bought.
Oh yeah, we bought the swatches. I don't think we talk about that, but we both bought them. And I'm probably I think I'm gonna gift mine. I haven't really worn it. I took a picture with it for us, but it's a fun watch. My sister, I'd love to get her into watches, and I think that's a great Christmas gift. So I think I'm gonna gift it to her for Christmas.
Tyler's
she doesn't listen to the show, so I can talk about it.
Yeah,
because everyone thinks I'm stupid for talking about watches twice a week. In my family,
I think my mom still listens to the podcast at some point.
That's awesome. My mom tunes in every once in a while.
She freaking raids my watches. Like where we did the State of the Collection last year. Yeah. And I had all of those swatches. They're all gone.
Oh, she took them?
She takes them. And I'm fine with that because it means I have less watches. And so now she came over, I mean, obviously for Thanksgiving, and we were looking at watch. She just comes in my bedroom and looks through my watch box. She's like, "Oh, you're getting rid of watches?" I'm like, "Mom, that doesn't mean you can just take stuff."
Oh Lord!
And then she goes to grab watches that I had already sold but hadn't boxed up. I'm like, "Nope, Mom, that has to stay here."
Aww.
So, sorry, Mom.
Yeah.
Also, to the guy who got the Stova, my mom wanted that.
Oh
so
yeah, I bet that's an awesome watch. I will miss that one a little bit, but you replaced the gray with a different gray. And one that I can see that you really, because, I was going to say, you had a lot of excitement when you bought your Stova, but it's not the same as your excitement with this one, I will say.
This is so ridiculous about this watch. I text people about it and I'm like, I sound like a crazy person. I literally bring my watch to work with me.
Yeah. And something I've heard from Grand Seiko, and I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that the service times are really long. People have to send them and they don't get them back for months. No, I'm not saying
you're really selling me on this watch.
No. What I'm saying is that I think it was a good idea that you got quartz, because this is obviously not going to need servicing as often as a mechanical watch. So I think if that was a worry, because I've seen people complain about that, and I don't think that should be a complaint.
It sucks. It is. It's one of those things that you just, what are you gonna do? You just accept it. You move on. To me, it's cost of ownership. It's one of those things I have no control
of.
But
I do consider cost, not time frame of getting it serviced, but I consider cost by the manufacturer, because that is really expensive. I think I saw someone posted a Longa, and granted, it's a Longa, but the cost of servicing was like, oh my gosh, I think it was like over $2,000.
Yeah.
What?
But also at the point that you're spending that much money on a watch.
Still.
I think it all comes down to perspective, because for me, I couldn't imagine myself spending $40,000 on a watch.
No, I wouldn't.
So if I was spending $40,000 on a watch, then $2,000 every 5 years is nothing.
I don't know about nothing, because like, what if you saved for that watch and then it's like, it doesn't necessarily mean you have the money, but I guess you shouldn't.
I don't feel like most people just save for that watch. I feel like most people who have a Longa, they're just baller like that.
Yeah.
Where are we at for time? I feel like
we're good.
Oh, okay.
We're hitting an hour just now, so we'll
We've
wrap it up.
been talking forever. All right, so we will wrap it up because we don't want to talk forever. And yeah, so that was just us going over all of the stuff we've had in.
Yeah.
Nice to share a little bit and talk about them. Because we post them on social media, but it's nice to actually just kind of have a conversation about them.
Yeah. I mean, we've got lots of different types of watches in, different sizes, and it's exciting for sure. Yeah. One thing I wanted to bring up randomly was I started watching this show, The Morning Show. It was an Apple TV. It came out maybe earlier in the year. It had Jennifer Aniston, Steve Carell. It centered around the Me Too movement, and it kind of followed the storyline of Matt Lauer and everything. A phenomenal show, first of all. I only have like a couple episodes left. It covers it from all different angles. But Jennifer Aniston, she rocks some amazing watches on the show. I'm going to actually zoom in on some of them because I'm trying to figure out what they are. And they're all huge watches. She
wears men's watches.
Men's watches. They're big. They're bold. And not only her, but other, like Steve Carell wears a sub on the show. There's lots of watches. So it's like, if you like watching, or we like watching movies and shows that you see a lot of watches.
If you like watch spotting.
If you like, well, that's a better way to say it.
If you like watching watches.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think. It's afternoon.
All the coffee.
But yeah, it's a great show. I've been really surprised. I think you would like it too. It's like funny and dramatic and all the good stuff, but really cool watches in it.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Head over to our website, www.tennand2.com, just for links to all the stuff that we talked about, pictures of the watches that we're talking about. Be sure you're following us along on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at 10and2 Media. Head over to our YouTube channel if you haven't yet. We finally put out our second video. I don't know if we've talked about that on the podcast yet at this point, because we've had so much going on.
Yeah.
But if we haven't, we have it out. So you can head over there and check that out too. So, and I think that is all. Oh, if you're listening and you like what you hear, share it. Sharing is caring, y'all. So share it on your social media. Also, if you listen on iTunes, be sure to leave us a review and leave us some 5-star rankings, just because it does make it easier for people to find the podcast later on as they're searching, because it's not the most easy name to type in. So,
all right.
That's all, y'all.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.